Hello, everyone, and welcome to Valley Strange. Today, we're going to be talking about a pretty monumental event. It's so monumental that no one cares.
Yeah, isn't it?
Aliens have just been confirmed, allegedly, in a congressional hearing.
Yeah, something like that.
Now, Roland, we haven't seen this yet, or at least I've seen like a clip here and there, but never seen the whole thing. What are your initial thoughts going into it? I'm skeptical, as always.
I think it's bullshit. Yeah.
You think it's bullshit?
Oh, absolutely. Fucking who's reporting this source for starters? A fucking Fed?
David GRUSCH.
I don't know anything about this guy. Do you?
No, I don't.
Not that I know
we'll
anything
find out
about
something.
anyone in general, but like just the little that I've.
Do you think the reason they're doing a public hearing is to why?
They're probably doing some other shit they don't want us to be paying attention to. I don't know.
You think it's just like he's like a psyop or something?
Everybody's just so broke and shit that they just don't, or that they don't care at all. Is a psyop though?
David GRUSCH, like he's a plant to like divulge his information because he's kind of like a nobody, and
Yeah.
they are using this as a way to kind of
like,
we said distract.
Yes,
but
if,
to distract from the fact that. I mean, there's a whole bunch of other things going on. Again, everyone's lack of money. Gas prices just shot up in a few days, like 2 days.
the world's gonna blow up or something.
It went up to like almost 35, 40 cents.
Oh,
Like from one day to the next, you
we're
know?
fucked. We're fucked.
And I was telling myself, why didn't you put gas last night, you dumbass? You know, but there's a lot of things going on that people just, it was an underwhelming response from the public. And it's unfortunate because something that is as revealing as this, I mean,
you would hope so.
Well, I would say most, including myself primarily, and I'm pretty sure I've heard from like many other UFOlogy enthusiasts or people who actually study this on a
I
regular
sent
basis.
you that little clip of Bob Lazar saying, "I told you so."
You had one comment to say, Bob, on this congressional hearing. What would it be?
I told you so.
Right. And you know what's funny is that's all he said. Right?
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
just
It does. There's no context.
It's very Bob Lazar.
So
like, you know?
yeah,
but
you could.
I don't know.
Yeah.
How credible is this person? And he's making claims without any actual hard evidence.
That's
where are the bodies? Where's
all
the
of this
video?
is just more bullshit, on TV. Like, oh yeah, cool. So,
but do you think? I mean, considering we don't have much trust in the government itself, but the fact that it's in a public hearing gives it some level of credibility.
maybe, but only because it's public, and because it's on TV. Really, like, if
And
this
we all
wasn't-
believe
if
what's
this
on
wasn't
TV.
recorded at all.
It was live.
Well,
We're not watching the live version.
If
We're watching
these,
the recording version of it.
we assume that these are supposed to be serious people with serious jobs that get paid with real dollary dues.
And you know
all
what?
of
If we're
that
gonna go by
shit.
that standard, and we're gonna go back to like, let's say the TikTok hearings and the bullshit questions they were asking that guy. You remember that?
Vaguely.
Because does TikTok access
I've seen a
the
few.
network, the Wi-Fi network or some shit?
Yeah.
You know, like really dumb questions they were asking, and those are people in Congress, in congressional hearings, and we kind of shat all over them, right? Because
I was remembering the one
they're a bunch of dummies
with
know?
Zuckerberg, where they were
Well, that's
like,
another one too. Yeah.
they flat out asked him, like, well, how do you guys make money? He's like, with advertisements.
How do you make
Like,
money?
You fucking idiots.
Buy it with our patrons. It's all the people that pay for Facebook Gold or some shit.
Like the dumbest shit ever that any half-assed,
Everyone is on Meta right now.
harebrained
Everybody.
idiot could Google to figure out. These are people like 2 or 3 times our fucking age, and they're dumb as hell.
They're dumb as bulls. That's what it
And
is.
in charge.
In charge,
And
making
so
laws,
here-
giving themselves raises and better healthcare than any of us will ever see.
Yeah, well, they're gonna fucking need it, probably.
In fact, did you see that Mitch McConnell thing?
They all
Where he kinda,
of
like,
these
froze?
people look like they're in like varying stages of like a melting candle.
Dude, they're all 80 years old.
Yeah,
Like, I mean,
what's
the ones that are
stupid
like
joke gerontocracy.
the
fucking
ones that are like
idiots.
front and center are like barely able to stay alive, man.
Yeah, I saw that bit with.
I would trust Mick Jagger to be running the country as opposed to these fuckers.
Sure.
And that's because Mick Jagger's like going around dancing. These fuckers are like barely walking. They're having strokes while they're in like press conferences.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're tripping over sandbags. Biden. They're falling downstairs. McConnell. And I don't even know how some of them have like are able to even speak because I feel like their teeth are just gonna fall out at any moment. Whenever they're speaking, they're bullshit.
Yeah. Well,
And that goes both sides of the coin. The Republicans and the
they're all
Dems.
gross.
Like, some of them are too old to
or
just
crazy
be around.
as fuck. Yeah. They miss their damn dementia meds. And I mean that in the nicest and worst way possible.
Well, what would happen if they just didn't take their meds?
What
Think they
would
would just
happen?
like disintegrate before our eyes? They kind of look like that. They all look like they're moments away from like a gust of wind, just sending them
ripping their heads
sands
off.
of the hourglass. So are the
snap,
days
snap.
of our lives, you know. Just
You see that little
or there's the wind is just gonna blow off their skin and it's gonna reveal that reptilian that's inside of them and shit. I could see like
they're gonna molt. Shit.
I
They
can
caught us.
For some reason I can see that happening to Nancy Pelosi.
Maybe.
Like it all melts away and shit
Snaky
to reveal
bitch.
the fucking reptilian, and she's just like, rah, 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 and then she like scurries away on all fours. I can see that happening. And then they just catch a glimpse of her in her house eating that fucking expensive ass ice cream as a reptilian. Still like,
Yeah. With those demon eyes. No. Yes.
it's good times. Good times. But yeah, so we're gonna listen to this congressional hearing, at least portion of it.
We'll zip through
I don't
it and
know
try.
how much patience I would have to listen to the whole
I know
thing.
exactly how much. It's not that much. How long is that video?
I think it's like 40 minutes, roughly.
something.
About 40
Okay.
minutes.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to put our listeners or viewers through that.
Right. Or them. Very
Them.
important.
They are, yes.
Not us.
Not us. No.
We'll suffer through this.
I
for
mean, I
40
can watch the whole
minutes.
thing, but I mean, it's also late, you know, and we just wanted to address this
Controversy.
controversy. Yeah. You know, I know you guys aren't one for politics,
Yeah.
you know, but
For losers.
we're going to just move on along with this. They should have Bob Lazar on the panel, right?
I mean, that
Bring
would
in
have
the
been
man
great.
from Los Alamos. Put
Hasn't
him
he
on the
been
stand.
asked? Hasn't he been asked
Nah, they
to
don't
come
fuck-
in?
they would
Not
never-
by
they would
these
never put him on
morons,
these
but I
things,
know
though.
like other people have asked him to just non-political types have been like,
I
well,
think
why don't
the
you go
only
in?
person who that I've seen, well, you know what? That's not true. He was obviously on Joe Rogan. You know, the Rogues had to get him on for sure because he's been talking to Jeremy Corbyn and like George Knapp forever,
Yeah.
trying to get them to convince Bob Lazar to come on the
Oh.
show. He does. It was a good interview.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it, but it's one of the few interviews that I enjoy with watching the Joe
Yeah.
Rogan
Very
experience.
specific. I probably have like less than that many that I
I mean,
enjoy.
I enjoyed the Dan Aykroyd one.
Yeah. That's
where
another good
he's
one.
also talking about the Men in Black and all that kind of stuff too.
That one's awesome.
While promoting like a motherfucker his Crystal Skull vodka.
Which I'm sure went up a couple cases after that.
Oh,
Worth.
I wonder. I feel like Dan Aykroyd's so much of like a capitalist kind of person that he wouldn't have just given it to Joe Rogan. He would have given Joe Rogan it at like cost or some shit. Maybe with a little bit more of a discount. Joe, I'll get you a case. You'll only pay 40% of the cost, right?
There you go. What a pal.
He's like, how much is that? $2 million. Damn,
Yeah,
are you
he's
doing
probably-
okay? He's like, well, I just need some more funding until we get to Ghostbusters Afterlife. This is before the movie, obviously. but-
Well, now for the sequel, Afterlife 2. Afterlife.
I wonder if Dan Aykroyd make another appearance with some more Crystal Skull vodka, double platinum.
Don't joke about it, Ray. It could happen.
He added another layer of like crystals to distill.
Another filter.
Another cubic zirconia filter. You go, not 3 layers anymore, but 4.
The crystal skull.
We chipped off some of the real crystal skull, right? By permission, we got it. Since it was Dan Aykroyd, they let him do it.
You're ready to swallow some glass.
There's like tiny shards in each bottle. Goes so you can absorb the crystal skull within.
Yeah, it'll live forever. It'll just embed itself into you.
Would you drink that?
Fuck no. I mean,
What if it's not gonna
afraid.
what if it's not gonna they're so small that it's not gonna really
Was
do much to your
dust,
innards.
maybe.
Yeah, crystal skull dust, like official crystal skull dust. Each bottle comes with a certificate of authenticity from a particular crystal skull that they
This
shaved
won't
some
kill
stuff
you.
off.
We promise. Signed by who gives a fuck.
By Danny Aki.
Then yes. oh, Danny Aki.
Danny Aki's the guy.
Awesome.
But yeah, so let's get started. We'll do a few stops here. I don't know how this copyright thing works here, but we'll see what we can do with this. All right. But
What do we got? What do you want?
hold on. So we're gonna go here.
Break it down. All right.
All right, here we go.
Mr. Chairman, ranking members in Congress.
Oh, can you raise it?
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. This is an important issue, and I'm grateful for your time. My name is David Charles Grusch. I was an intelligence officer for
Why does he have to
14
read
years, both in the U.S. Air Force,
to be
both
coherent.
active duty, Air National Guard,
he
and
knows
Reserve.
these things about
at
himself.
the
Oh, wait.
Major, and
National
most
Guard and Reserve?
recently from
Get him out of there. He's not
2021
real.
to 2025, or excuse me, 2023.
There you go.
At the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, NGA, at the GS-15 civilian level, which is the military equivalent of a full bird colonel. I was my agency's co-lead in unidentified anomalous phenomena and transmedium object analysis, as well as reporting to the UAP task force, UAPTF.
Question. You're asking. I would want my intros. I wish I had something written down to do these fucking intros because half the time I'm brain farting. You can imagine if you're nervous in front of these fuckers here that you'll be brain farting up a storm.
Then don't give the presentation. They will eat
Look,
you
I
alive.
think that's Jeremy Corbell behind him with all those tats.
And eventually,
Making
once
making
it
his
was
presence known.
established, the all-domain
these
anomaly
politicians are like
resolution
bears.
office,
They
I
start
became a
eating you out at
whistleblower
the asshole
through a
while you're still alive.
PPD 19 urgent concern
So-
filing in May 2022 with the Intelligence Community Inspector General.
No, none of this
Following
nervous
concerning
Nancy
reports from
bullshit.
multiple esteemed and credentialed current and former military and intelligence community individuals that the U.S. government is operating with secrecy above congressional oversight with regards to UAPs. My testimony is based on information I've been given by individuals with a long-standing track record of legitimacy
Wait a minute,
and
wait a
service
minute,
to
wait
this
a minute.
country.
I just think he's
Did
reading all of.
he just say that? Is it not firsthand account? He's saying
No.
he's getting information from credible people. Who are those credible people? That's what I want to know.
Well,
Many
yeah,
of whom
but-
also have shared compelling evidence in the form of photography,
Oh, haven't
official
they?
documentation,
And that
classified
stuff
oral
is
testimony to myself and many
Yeah, old Ned down by the farm.
Oh,
I have taken
shit.
every
Well,
step
you just
I
come
can
on down to the
corroborate
farm
this
and we'll show
evidence
you.
over a period of 4 years while
Okay,
I was with
Mr.
the UAP task
Grusch.
force, and do my due
really
diligence
his
on the
name, too.
individual sharing it.
That's why
This
he's
is
reading
because
all
of
of
these
this, 'cause
steps,
it's all
I
bullshit.
believe strongly in the importance of bringing this information before you. I'm
So
driven by
he's
a
saying
commitment
they're
to both,
credible
to
because
truth
he
and
vetted
transparency,
them.
And
rooted in our inherent
And we're
he
trusting him.
is
the
credible
United
Yes,
States
he's
because
credible.
he's saying all of
Right.
these
protect
Got
things.
it.
American people.
So
I'm asking Congress to hold our government to this standard and
it's
thoroughly
cred by
investigate these
association.
claims. But as I stand here under oath now, I am speaking to the facts as I've been told them. In the U.S. Air Force, in my National Reconnaissance Office, NRO, reservist capacity, I was a member of the UAP task force from 2019 to 2021. I served at the NRO Operations Center on the director's briefing staff, which included the coordination of the presidential daily brief and supporting variety of contingency operations, which I was the Reserve Intelligence Division Chief backup. In 2019, the UAP Task Force Director asked me to identify all special access programs and controlled access programs, also known as SAPs and CAPs, we needed to satisfy our congressionally mandated mission.
Yeah, I'm going to take that seriously.
That sounds like a Step Brothers song.
At the time, due to my extensive executive level intelligence support duties, I was cleared to literally all relevant compartments and in a position of extreme trust, both in my military and civilian capacities.
Trust, eh?
I was informed in the course of my official duties of a multi-decade UAP crash retrieval and reverse engineering program, to which I was denied access to those additional read-ons when I requested it.
Whoa.
I made the decision based on the data I collected
good are you?
to report this information to my superiors and multiple inspectors general, and in effect becoming a whistleblower. As you know, I have suffered retaliation for my decision, but I am hopeful that my actions will ultimately lead to a positive outcome of increased transparency. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer your questions.
Mr. Grush.
How did he even make it to this? If he's such a, this is like almost a damning whistleblower information. How did he even make it to this fucking meeting?
Yeah.
Wouldn't they have killed him already?
Yeah, they would have probably just like murdered him on the shitter or something. I don't know.
Unless they don't take him seriously, like they do Bob Lazar.
Well, he
kinda
already
just left-
himself said I don't take him seriously. So yeah, that could be.
Yeah, well, I mean, in this hearing, I mean, we're supposed
He's
to kinda
already
take him
said that
seriously.
he's been blocked. He hadn't been given full access. He's just been told about this by other people.
Well, it's
Your
as a
complaint
fact.
to the
Let's
intelligence
continue on.
community inspector.
The fact that he was
Inspector
told by
General,
someone
you
else.
claim that you believe information
Very
is
good.
being hidden. What kind of information do you think was hidden, and do you think it should remain hidden?
Yes, I can speak to that very briefly in an unclassified manner. As you know, the preponderance of my complaint was classified to the intelligence communities. Both material acquisition and exploitation activity, also baselining the UAPs, but not sharing it with, intelligence professionals that are actually doing step briefs to pilots, that kind of information. Yeah.
Mr. Grush, finally, do you believe that our government is in possession of UAPs?
Absolutely, based on interviewing over 40 witnesses over 4 years.
And where?
10
I
people
know
per
the exact
year.
locations, and those locations were provided to the Inspector General, and some of which to the intelligence committees. I actually had the people with the firsthand knowledge provide a protected disclosure to the Inspector General.
Thank you. And Mr. Chairman, I would just say that I think that
And
these
all of that will
questions
be
are
available
important
to
questions, and I
read
look
in my
forward
book.
to being involved in the process to get those answered. I know there'll be a lot of questions from other committee members, so I yield back.
Mr. Grush.
Come on. You think he's gonna come out with a book soon? Bob Lazar already came out with his book.
Of course. And if he does, I would probably want a copy of it.
I'll see what I can do.
Thank you for being here, brother. Thank you all very much. Have you faced any retaliation or reprisals for any of your testimony or anything?
You mean he need
On
to
these
say
lines.
that?
Yeah, I have to be careful what I say in detail because there is an open whistleblower reprisal investigation on my behalf, and I don't want to compromise that investigation by providing anything that may.
So I'm just gonna.
help
I was
provide
waiting. I
some
thought I'd wait
information,
longer to
but
say this.
It was
but
very brutal.
I really
and
hate the way he
very
speaks.
unfortunate.
He just sounds like a douche. I don't know. It's,
Well,
maybe,
I
I'm sure
mean-
he's probably maybe a really nice person, or maybe I don't
Well,
know.
we're-
But my
I'm
just
pretty-
initial expression, like I don't like the way he speaks.
I'm pretty sure he gives gifts for people's
It's the
birthdays.
way his face and like makes words.
I don't know about that. I
All
don't
of
really
it.
have that issue with the guy.
Technology.
All of that. It's all wrong. There's something wrong here, Ray. He's one of them.
Have anyone been murdered that you would think that you know of?
He kind of
Or-
looks like a
or,
lizard.
I guess.
I have to be careful asking that question. I directed people with that knowledge
Asshole.
to the appropriate authorities.
Maybe in a if we could get in a confidential area, skiff, we could talk about that. But unfortunately,
Even more useless.
we were
Great.
denied access to the skiff, and that's very unfortunate in this scenario.
You just said that.
What the fuck is a skiff?
I have no idea. A thing. Maybe it's like a tiff. You know?
Oh, with an S
yeah.
and
And a K.
a K.
Mr. Grush, what about you? What was your
The T is
experience
silent.
after you came forward?
In skiff.
Well,
You know, Jamie were asking, for a while there, I was like, why does this guy keep on wearing this? And I forgot he has something to do with like one of his family members has cancer and shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, I thought he was like appropriating some shit.
He's hiding a
for
J
while.
under there.
Yeah, right.
Listen to this bullshit. Oh yeah.
I felt bad.
It's gonna be like whoop.
Thinking that initially, and then I was like, oh, he's kind of doing it for a good reason. Okay.
Well, it's only been about
Otherwise,
2 months
he
or
does
so,
look
so I guess
pretty
my
goofy.
experience has been overwhelming support from former colleagues of mine that have
Did you
privately
flick out your
messaged
lizard
me,
tongue, you
and I do
goddamn
appreciate
reptilian?
that. But
I don't think
do
this
have
guy's a
knowledge
reptilian.
of,
The more I
active
see it,
and,
the more
maybe
I
a
can't.
regular gray.
colleagues. It's very,
A gray, you say?
Yeah.
Coming from where?
I don't know.
Look at that head.
certain senior leadership at previous
Damn it.
agencies
Bigger
I was
than normal.
associated with.
Yeah. It's bigger than normal.
And that's
I
all
don't
I'll
know,
say
Ray.
publicly,
That's
but I can provide
that's kind of
more
mean.
details
It's kind of a
in
mean
close
thing to say, Ray.
Okay. Well, I hope you understand.
Let's
that,
stick to
there
his
would be
looks, okay?
bipartisan rejection
Not
of
to the
any
shape of his skull.
Isn't that his looks?
You
That's
can't fix that.
Is that
though.
a gray area? Continue on.
Kill yourself.
to vilify, demonize, or engage in other reprisals against our witnesses and people who are telling the truth from their perspective.
Yeah, there were certain colleagues of mine that were brutally administratively attacked, and it actually makes me very upset.
Administratively
as a leader,
attacked, eh?
to see that happen to other coworkers and actually superiors of mine over
Well,
the last
They
3
move
years.
them
How do you
down
account for that response?
closer to the bathroom
It seems like a
cubicle?
bizarre response.
I call it administrative terrorism.
Further
That's
away
their-
from
their
the,
quiver, their tool in the toolbox to silence people,
Administrative terrorism.
especially
The,
career government service
water
cares about the
machine or
career,
wherever
cares
it
about
is they
their
all hang out.
clearance, their reputation to climb the ladder.
In the office.
And when you threaten that flow, career path,
Whoa. Career path threatened, bro.
Well, I mean, those are the people that are causing administrative terrorism.
My career flow has been disrupted.
I mean, wouldn't you say that's kind of common amongst like?
Yes.
So
piss
far,
somebody off.
I mean, so far he's not saying
they're gonna
anything
be like,
brand new.
no promotion for you. Get fucked.
Right? In fact,
But he's just
a
saying
quarter
it
less.
in like Fed bro speak, and now the
Fed
more,
bro speak?
yeah, the more of this I hear, the more I'm just like, oh, he's either like, Chad Smith or lizard, lizard people, whatever the hell.
you don't know what the fuck you're saying. You just have an issue with his face. That's what you're telling me, and his
No,
voice.
I don't have an issue with his. Yeah, okay, that's a good start. That's more than one issue. That's several issues. So
Is it his
technically,
watch?
Yes.
Is it his?
I don't give a
fucking
shit about
digital
that
watch?
trash ass looking watch. I'm making fun of his goofy lips and his weird nose and
You gonna tell me he don't?
where
look
are
like,
his eyebrows?
You don't
Goddamn
tell me
it!
he don't look like an alien. Maybe he's one of the Anunnaki, man.
Where are his fucking eyebrows?
You know what it is? Maybe he's like a lower level type of alien, and he's
Oh.
like coming forward to kind of
A goon.
up. You know what? They probably. He probably got shit on at some
Yeah.
point, right? As in whatever lower
He looks like a
level alien that he
goddamn
is.
Goomba.
But then he's like, you know what? Because you're fucking with me, I'm gonna blow the lid off the whole thing, and the world's gonna see. But eventually,
That's
the world is just
right.
like, we don't care.
They're gonna see, yeah, and by when he finally comes forward, nobody gives a shit. We're like, the world's
Mr.
on fire,
Grush,
and
in
we can't
speaking
afford
to
gas,
you
and we're broke.
Yesterday, I just wanted to follow up on Representative Raskin's questions.
Do
In
you?
the last couple of years, have you
Do you
had
really wanna follow up on
incidences
questions?
that have caused you to be in fear for your life for
Oh.
addressing these issues?
Oh,
Yes, personally.
Okay. I just want everyone to note that he's coming forward in fear of his life. To put in perspective, if they were really not scared about this information coming out, why would someone be intimidated like that?
well, now we know.
To
He's
your
in-
knowledge,
he's there in
are
congressional hearing.
NHIs working with adversarial foreign governments in either
One of those guys
technology
just stands up behind
exchange
her.
programs or back engineering programs.
like, what
I don't have data.
Come
I'm
on.
not sure.
Have you heard?
What
or
are you
had
scared
people come
of?
forward to present that
The guy
evidence?
behind me with all the tattoos and
Not
the bigger
that
watch than me.
particular evidence that you just espoused.
Okay, on the 19th of
No.
April, Dr. Kirkpatrick, head of
back up.
Arrow, had said that he did not find any evidence of UAPs. You also stated that you had, in your interview, that you had briefed him on information that you were uncovering, but that he did not follow up with you. Were the items that you divulged to him pertinent to national security?
Yes, him and I had a classified conversation in April 2022 before he took over Arrow in July 2022, and I provided him some concerns I had.
Do you know why he might not have followed up with you?
Unfortunately, I cannot read his mind. I wish he did. I was happy to give sage counsel to him on where to look when he took the helm of Arrow.
Okay,
Sage
and then
counsel.
my last question for you before I move
Those
to
are words
Mr.
people
Graves
use.
is you received prior approval from the Defense Department
you don't
to
use
speak on
them,
certain issues,
so-
correct?
So obviously,
Correct, through
no one else
DOPSR,
does.
DoD pre-publication
Duh.
and security
Thank you,
review.
Greg. I knew you'd
and
understand.
Just want to remind the public, they're just looking from a security perspective. These are my own personal views and opinions, not the department's.
Okay, I'm asking that though mainly because I think that there are many people that would like to discredit you. So it does bring a certain amount of credibility to your testimony.
I'm required by law to do that as a former intelligence officer, or I go to jail for revealing classified information.
Yeah, we don't want you to go to jail.
Mr.
Yes, we
Grush,
do.
as a result of
Go
your
to jail.
previous government work, have you met with people with direct knowledge or have
I
direct
forgot how
knowledge yourself of
ridiculously blue
non-human
this guy's
origin craft?
suit is.
Yes, I
It's
personally.
just so
interviewed these
powerfully
individuals.
blue, like
Mr. Grush,
aggressively
as a
blue.
result of your
At this point, we're kind of not even addressing what he's saying, more
No,
so like
because
how
it's
he
all
looks.
bullshit.
Well,
You want to?
so far, what he's said is that his life has been threatened.
Right.
Right. He's here in fear of his life.
Right.
Right. And that he's confirmed from credible sources that we have a craft or crafts,
From classified conversations he's had with
classified conversations.
that he can't speak of because he doesn't want to go to jail, and they don't want him to go to
too
jail
much.
either.
He's not. That's why he's not divulging too much information. He's being as vague as hell.
No, he's not. That's not vague at all. He's being what was it in a direct, non-classified manner.
No, I think that a lot of the people that are wanting disclosure to happen, especially like the older UFO.
They don't want to be the
people.
first one, so
No,
they
well,
don't
no,
go to jail.
no. Like none of them that were in like some kind of government
Sphere.
Well, there's quite a few
Of
but I bet you they would have wanted to been the
bullshit.
ones to like being taken seriously, right?
Maybe.
They need some kind of
Maybe.
limelight.
They don't want to end up like
previous government work,
Snowden.
have you met with people with direct knowledge or have direct knowledge yourself about ATs, advanced technologies that the U.S. government has?
Based on conventional advanced tech, I was briefed to the preponderance of the Defense Department's both space and aerospace compartmented programs, yeah.
Do you have knowledge or do you have reason to believe that there are programs in the advanced tech space that are unsanctioned?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when you say that they're above congressional oversight, what do you mean?
I finally asked a good question.
Complicated question. So there's, some, I would call it abuse here. So congressional oversight of conventional special access programs, so I'll use Title 10, so DOD as an example, right? So 10 U.S. Code Section 119 discusses congressional oversight of SAPs, discusses the DepSecDef's ability to waive congressional reporting. However, the Gang of Eight is at least supposed to be notified if a waived or waive bigoted unacknowledged SAP is created, and that's public law.
Well, so that how does, I don't want to cut you off, but how does a program like that get funded?
I will give you generalities. I can get very specific in a closed session, but misappropriation of funds and
Does that mean
self-fund.
that there is money in the budget that is said to go to a program, but it doesn't, and it goes to something else?
Yes, I have specific knowledge of that. Yep.
Like money going to the Pentagon.
No,
That gets
that
lost
just falls
during an
into
audit?
that just falls into the couch. It's where you just gotta dig
The
in. We
space
just
program
gotta,
couch.
you gotta
UAP
you gotta dig
couch?
real deep in there for those quarters.
It's in a UAP gasket somewhere. Well, at least he's confirming.
Oh,
by his own standard, I guess.
Well, he's confirming stuff that most people have already either talked about.
Yeah, that's
or
right.
been
None of it
aware
seems
of.
like. At this point, none
It's
of
just-
it is.
It's just
surprising.
interesting that it's just interesting to see that he's the current
guy.
face of
He's
this
the
whole
guy.
thing. He's
Do
the
you
guy.
think U.S.
Let's see.
corporations are overcharging for certain tech they're selling to the U.S. government, and that additional money is going to programs?
You mean the government's
Correct, through something
not
called
doing what
IRAD.
they say they're gonna do? What?
Satellite imagery.
No.
Let's talk about satellite imagery. We have
Wow, it's
satellites
horseshit.
all over
Treason,
the place.
that's what
some
I'm
that
hearing.
We're aware of, and many that we're not.
Burn the
aware of,
witch.
right? We're taking pictures.
That's what we do with treason.
Of everything at every point and second. Mr. Grush, are you aware?
Historically.
Do you have direct knowledge? Or have you talked to people with direct knowledge that there are satellite imagery of these events?
That was one of my primary tasks at NGA, since we process exploit and disseminate that kind of information. I've seen multiple cases, some of which, to my understanding, and of course I left NGA in April, so that's my information cutoff date. But I personally reviewed both what we call overhead collection and from other strategic and tactical platforms that I could not even explain prosaically. And I have a degree in physics, by the way, as well. And I am aware that you guys have not seen these reports, unfortunately. And I don't know why.
You know physics,
you have direct
bro?
knowledge, we've spoken people
Bro.
with direct knowledge.
That's a physics,
If he has
bro.
a physics degree, I mean,
Wow. That's very, I mean, it just gives him more credibility. That's what it is. He's a nerd.
a physics nerd. Theoretical physics, maybe. I don't think.
Who
he
knows?
Maybe he didn't go that far.
Well, it could certainly be a
he's just
theoretical degree.
Maybe.
Ooh.
Maybe he's just a BA in physics, right?
Maybe.
If he was like he had a master's in physics, how would you like take him a little bit more?
Maybe.
I mean, not to say he can't be corrupted by money or lie or anything, but
I might take him only slightly more seriously.
So
than
let's say
knowing
just
he has a degree at all.
Same with I mean,
Because
yeah,
the
you know,
physics thing is.
I mean, congressional people really
Who's
don't have to
never
have
met
any sort
someone
of
with a physics degree?
well, I mean, people in Congress can have a GED and be fine.
Yeah.
Right? So I mean, I would assume in a position that he would have to have some sort of advanced degree.
I would maybe, but I would think also too that in the same sense that those politicians don't have degrees for shit. You know.
Yeah, but they're politicians, man. Like they don't really need to know anything. They have
that's true.
They have a team of people helping them that are probably smarter than they are.
I guess.
But I think MTG is writing her own speeches. So.
Yeah, maybe good for her. But for this guy, yeah, I don't know. Let's just
continue on.
All right.
That this imagery applies to crash sites, crash imagery.
I can't discuss that in an open session.
Okay. Do you have any information that the U.S. government is involved in a disinformation campaign to deny the existence of certain UAPs?
I can't go beyond what I've already stated publicly in my News Nation interview because it touches other sensitivities.
Okay. I'll yield the balance of my time back. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And then everyone stands up and claps.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I thank our witnesses for being here today.
I forgot, but is Pederast Matt
Mr.
Gates there?
GRUSCH, in your
he's right
sworn
fucking there.
testimony,
Yeah.
You state that the United States government
I forgot for a
has
second.
I'm surprised he's not saying shit.
retrieved
Isn't like Jim
supposedly
Jordan there too?
extraterrestrial
I thought that was
I
that
think
fucker at the end.
they're around
He's that fucker at the end of there.
artifacts.
Maybe.
You go so far as to
see,
state that
that's
the
what this
U.S.
lady's
is in
saying.
possession of, quote, non-human spacecraft, end
What
quote.
is this?
And that some of these artifacts have circulated with defense contractors. Several other
lady's
former
definitely
military and
a reptilian.
intelligence officials have
Yeah.
come forward with similar allegations, albeit in non-public settings. However, Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick,
Who's the guy in back who needs to take a shit? He's like, when is this over? I'm gonna fucking take a shit. Do you see his face? He's like literally just
holding it in.
Look at him much.
director of AARO,
Well, good luck, buddy.
previously testified before Congress that there has been, and I quote,
Oh shit! I'm on.
no credible evidence thus far of extraterrestrial
Hurry up, you lizard bitch.
activity or of, quote, off-world technology brought to the attention of the office. To your knowledge, is that statement correct?
It's not accurate. I believe Dr. Kirkpatrick mentioned he had about 30 individuals that have come to Arrow thus far. A few of those individuals have also come to Arrow that I also interviewed,
Okay.
and I know what they provided Dr. Kirkpatrick and their team.
Okay.
I was able to evaluate
Okay,
that information.
I need to go on.
Sure.
But my understanding that his statement is accurate, came from a direct quote. And this contradiction is a perfect example of why we need to inject transparency into our government. And for another example, look no further than the pitiful response to the Chinese spy balloon debacle earlier this year. You may remember the mass confusion that ensued when the balloon was first spotted over Montana, 4 days after it first entered U.S. airspace over Alaska. The Biden administration's initial inability to address the object grew into a continuous series of embarrassments. After news of the balloon reached the mainstream media, we were assured that the balloon posed no threat to our security.
Who gives a shit?
However, after the balloon was allowed to
I think I'm more
transit the
distracted by her
entire
shiny ass
continental
earrings at
United
this
States,
point than anything
fighter
else.
jets were scrambled
I
off
completely
the
stopped
coast of South
listening, and now she's
Carolina
talking about
to
the
shoot it
balloon
down.
bullshit again.
This flip-flopping and obfuscation
Fuck,
caused
I knew I
needless
smelled a bitch
confusion,
when I saw
fear,
you
and panic
somewhere in
across
this
the
face.
country.
I was like,
It's
huh.
my hope, Mr.
This looks like the
Chairman,
face of an
that this
asshole.
sort of
Another one.
confusion will
Great.
not be repeated.
It's the earrings.
Thank you,
doing it for
Mr. Chairman. I'm
No,
gonna
the earrings were helping
direct
for a
this, I believe,
second
to,
because again I was
Mr.
distracted
Grush,
by
but
them.
if
It's
any
like
of y'all-
shiny,
Distracted
shiny.
like a fucking
Ooh,
dog or something?
Ooh, and then snap
Has
back.
the U.S. government become aware
I'm
of
sure.
actual evidence of extraterrestrial, otherwise unexplained forms of intelligence? And if so, when do you think this first occurred?
I like to use the term non-human. I don't like to denote origin. Keeps the aperture open, both scientifically. Certainly, like I've discussed.
Is that a proper way to use that?
None of what he said is proper, but whatever.
keeps
So
the
he totally
aperture
doesn't
open.
sound like Zach Baggins, whatever, right now.
You say it keeps the aperture open. Is that? I've never heard someone say that before.
No, never heard that either. Not.
I
it's
mean,
an
aperture is
interesting
obviously something that
context.
lets as
Yes,
much certain light
let
in.
them
He wants to
adjust.
he wants to keep the light all open. He
Oh,
wants as much
does
light
he?
to come in.
As much as possible.
Yeah, as
But
much as-
it's still adjustable, you know. Yeah. So mysterious.
I bet you he just bought a camera.
Publicly, previously 1930s.
Okay.
I still hate him.
Can you give me the names?
This makes
and
me
No one
hate him
says
even
you
more.
like
This is
him.
confirming my
direct
hate.
firsthand
All of it.
knowledge and
It
access
sounds
to
like
some of this
like-
crash retrieval, some of
This
these
is like
crash
goddamn
retrieval
Ghost
programs,
Adventures.
and maybe which facilities, military bases that would the recovered material would be in. And I know a lot of Congress talked about we're going to go to Area 51, and you know, and there's nothing there anymore anyway. It's just and it would look like a
nothing
glacier as soon
anymore
as we
anyway.
announce it.
Yeah,
I'm sure the
see?
moving vans would pull up.
He's
but
admitting to
please.
it, and no one gives a shit.
I can't discuss that publicly, but I did provide that information both to the Intel committees and the Inspector General.
And we could get that in the skiff if we were allowed to get in a skiff with you. Would that be probably what you would think?
Sure, if you had the
Why does he,
appropriate access.
why does he keep doing that face like he's
what
holding in
special
a
access
fart?
programs cover this
Like he just
information,
says something and then he
How
goes
is it possible that they have
and like puffs
evaded
up
oversight
after
for
every
so long?
fucking statement. Just like
I do know the names. Once
I
again,
should have
can't
brushed this
discuss that
morning.
publicly and how they've evaded oversight. In a closed setting, I can tell you the specific tradecraft used.
All right.
there it is.
When do you think those programs began, and who authorized them?
I do know a lot of that information, but that's something I can't discuss publicly because of
All right.
sensitivities.
If any of y'all want to jump in on any of this, you're more than welcome to. What level of security clearance is required to fully access these programs?
Well, anybody who has
And I say that because myself, Representative Gates and Representative Luna were basically turned away at one point at Eglin. So please go right ahead.
certainly difference between
Is your
member
name
access and say somebody like
Biden?
me, but anybody who has
No?
a TSSCI clearance and meets
There's
the
your
eligibility
answer.
criteria, the access adjudicative authority should be able to grant you access. Yeah.
Ms. Burchett, if you'll yield, so just to put a fine point on that, there's nothing that you're aware of that's
great.
above special
Here we go.
access program classification.
It's a misnomer that there's anything actually above top secret. Executive Order 13526 delineates the classification levels.
Right, but I draw a point on that because we can have access to those programs, and so the notion that we're not being given that access sort of defies our typical muscle memory here in Congress. Thank you, Mr. Burchett. I'll yield back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Gates. Along those lines, Title 10, you may not know this or not, but Title 10 and Title 50 authorization, they seem to say they're inefficient. So who gets to decide this, in your opinion, in the past?
It's a group of career senior executive officials,
Okay, are they government officials?
both
Or-
in and out,
Do what?
both in and out of government, and that's about as far
I
as I
got
can
you.
go there.
All right, well, that leads to my next question. Which private corporations are directly involved in this program? How much taxpayer money has been invested in these programs, to your knowledge? I mean, we know we audit the Pentagon every year.
I won't say.
And I've been here 5 years and they failed the
But I
thing
can
every year.
infer
Lose over $1 billion
a lot
a year, we think. And I've
but less
told the
than
Department of Defense,
a
maybe
shitload.
60% of their assets are unaccounted for, whatever the heck that means.
Quote
in the
me
public
on that.
sector, you go to jail for that kind of crap. So tell me.
Yeah, I know when I'm $1 off of my DTS travel voucher, I get hammered, but seems like it doesn't work the other
If
way.
you
right?
sell over
Yeah.
if you sell over $600 worth of stuff on eBay now, you
Oh, I
get a call
fucking
from the
hate this.
IRS. So please, what corporations?
Yeah, I don't know the
Such
specific
trash,
metrics
all
towards
of
the end of
it.
your question. The specific corporations I did provide to the committees in specific divisions, and I spent 11 and a half hours with both Intel committees. So.
Okay, has there been any?
Whoa.
Has there been an active U.S. government disinformation campaign to deny the existence of unidentified aerial phenomena, and if so, why?
I can't go beyond what I've already espoused publicly about that.
Thank you. Ms. Ocasio-Cortez?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to our witnesses for coming here today. I do concur with the ranking member as well as several other members here on this committee that this is a committee for whistleblowers and for the protection of whistleblowers as well. So we understand what you're putting on the table here and what you're putting on the line here, and we thank you for that. Mr. Grush, you sat on the Unidentified Anomalous Phenomenon Task Force created in the 2020 NDAA, correct?
Yes.
There have been some things that have been mentioned here during this hearing that I wanted to pick up on. Mr. Graves, you mentioned specifically during the answers to one of your questions, you named Boeing contractors being engaged in an incident regarding this red cube about a football field wide. I was wondering if you could speak a little bit about the interaction, or Mr. Grush, either of you, the interactions between defense contractor companies and any UAP-related programs or activities.
So I'll just say that the information about the contractor himself were provided by a witness, and I have no particular detail in that relationship.
Mr. Grush.
The kind of general unclassed wave tops, certainly the contractors, are the metal benders, so to speak. They're the ones actually doing specific performance on government contracts.
Are they required to issue any disclosure regarding UAP sightings, or do they engage in any reporting around this?
In terms of the contractors,
Yes.
not that I'm aware of.
They do not. Okay. Now, when it comes to notification that you had mentioned about IRAD programs, we have seen defense contractors abuse their contracts before through this committee. I have seen it personally, and I have also seen the notification requirements to Congress abused. I am wondering, one of the loopholes that we see in the law is that there is, at least from my vantage point, is that depending on what we're seeing, is that there are no actual definitions or requirements for notification. What methods of notification did you observe? Like when they say they notified Congress, how did they do that? Do you have insight into that?
For certain IRAD activities, I can only think of ones conventional in nature. Sometimes they flow through certain, I'll just say, SAP programs that have cognizant authority over the Air Force or something, and those are congressionally reported compartments, but IRAD is literally internal to the contractor, so as long as it's money, either profits, private investment, et cetera, they can do whatever they want.
To put a finer point on it, when there is a requirement for any agent.
They just said that private contractors are involved in this too.
Yeah.
How did they get clearance? They didn't mention that at all, right? Like, how do they have access to any of this stuff?
It's a part of the contract? I don't know, fucking clue. It all sounds like more bullshit, mostly. It's just like, yeah, we hire people to help us do stuff, and that's all I can say.
Wouldn't they need like top secret clearance also? It's kind of like the people that
they would
helped
have
Bruce Wayne build his fucking Batcave, you know?
Yeah.
They're sworn to secrecy. Maybe like an NDA, non-disclosure agreement.
They'll shoot them in the balls if they don't.
Yeah, and at the end of it, they have to sign that if they speak of any of this to anyone,
it's treason.
It's treasonous, and they would be killed.
Burn the witch
on site.
Yep.
Okay.
Agency or
Just so we're
company
clear.
to notify
Just so we're
any
clear.
agency to notify Congress Do they contact the chairman of a committee?
She's just trying to track down how they actually do anything to be accountable for the cash, which is really the only useful thing out of all of this, to find out where the money is, if it's going anywhere. Oh, it's not going where it's supposed to, but I can't tell you where.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Fuck off now.
I want to get into specifics here, and a reason I'm going to go this way is because you've talked a bit about what I would call misdirection by official U.S. government with regard to UAPs, right? And so I'm going to get to that in a second. But last week, White House NSC spokesman John Kirby stated that UAPs are having an impact on our training ranges and need to be treated as a legitimate issue. Do you concur with his statements? That's for each of you.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Now, having said that, I'm going to take you to specific.
Homeboy in the back, dude. Stop, bro. He has not moved that facial expression. You see him?
He's asleep.
He's half asleep right now. His mouth is about to be open. His eyes, he's either that or he's really high.
I hope so.
And how do they get those seats back there? Are they part of his team or some shit? Like,
yeah, maybe. I don't know. That lady there looks like she's.
Well, she's in mid blink. So
specific instances around the Phoenix Valley.
But look at this guy. Look at this guy.
I live in '97. We had the famous
there you
Phoenix light case. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that.
Look at him. He's off, man.
There were two things that went along with that, and the explanation was military training range off Luke and the Barry Goldwater range.
I wouldn't want to be there.
Do you know anything different other than the official explanation of those lights?
Maybe in the audience,
Nah, I'd be falling asleep, bored off my ass. Look at this guy. He's asleep. Ha!
Duties.
And if we wanted to, just my question along with my colleague from New York,
I saw him.
Cortez, if we wanted to find out more about that, where would we go to find the files, and who would we address? And are you going to tell me we need to go to a SCIF so you can tell us in a SCIF?
I could potentially give you a vector on that. That specific case, I'm familiar with it in terms of public.
Vector.
But, I give you a vector in closed environment. Yeah.
That would be good. Thank you.
All right.
So if it's true that UAPs are having an impact on training ranges, and this administration considers it to be a legitimate issue, what steps can Congress take to address training range impacts? And I say that having two very large training ranges in my state. And so we'll start with Mr. Graves and going down the panel.
Some of the initial procedures have been implemented, such as within the United States Navy, that have a range failure report that gathers information from pilots. I understand that a service-wide reporting mechanism is still pending. However, that would be a great next step.
There you go. Now I know.
Yeah, I don't care about these training range threats. I want to hear about these aggressive UFOs.
Fucking hell.
See here. There we go. This is the good shit down here.
So we just sat through the 30 minutes of bullshit and absolute noise. God damn it.
Well, them's the breaks.
Yeah. All right. Double. And one. Boom.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate you guys coming out today, testifying.
Oh.
Look, I've been here for 6 months.
What about our
I'm
appreciation?
Pretty skeptical. I don't trust anything in this town. And and so I think that's because I'm from Missouri. You've got to show me, right? With that being said, there's been
Missouri people are always needing proof. Bullshit, dude.
What the fuck is he on about? Whatever.
I'm from Missouri, so you know how we are.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I do know.
A lot of things that have been said in the public, Mr. Grusch, and so I want to get down to, if we can, some specifics, right?
No.
So at one point you had said that there
just zoom in, so we're gonna have to look at Matt
activity
Gates.
or aggressive activity. Has any of the activity
in the shot
been aggressive, been hostile in your reports?
I know of multiple colleagues of mine that got physically injured. And the activity,
By UAPs or by people within the federal government?
Both.
Okay, so there has been activity by alien or non-human technology and or beings that has caused harm to humans.
I can't get into the specifics in an open environment, but at least the activity that I personally witnessed, and I have to be very careful here, because you don't, they tell you never to acknowledge tradecraft, right? So what I personally witnessed myself and my wife was very disturbing.
Okay. One of my constituents actually sent this next question. I figured I'd ask it since I had the same thought. You said that the U.S. has intact spacecraft. You said that the government has alien bodies or alien species.
Hold on, here it is.
Have you seen the spacecraft?
I have to be careful to describe what I've seen firsthand and not in this environment, but I could answer that question behind closed doors. Yeah.
And have you seen any of the bodies?
That's something I've not witnessed myself.
Okay, and so with that being said, and the other statement that has been made that was intriguing to me it's intriguing because my view has been that we are billions of light years away from any.
What the fuck is Matt Gaetz looking off at?
And the concept that an alien species that's technologically advanced enough to travel billions of light years gets here and somehow is incompetent enough to not survive Earth.
Maybe looking at the camera that he's on right
now is something that I find a little bit far-fetched. And with that being said, you have mentioned that there's interdimensional potential. Could you expound on that?
To answer your first question, and I'm here as a fact witness and expert, but I will give you a theoretical framework, at least to work off, to kind of espouse crashes, regardless of your level of sentience, right? Planes crash, cars crash, n number of sorties, however high, a small percentage are going to end in mission failure, if you will, as we say in the Air Force. And then in terms of multidimensionality, that kind of thing, the framework that I'm familiar with, for example, is something called the holographic principle. It derives itself from general relativity and quantum mechanics, and that is, if you want to imagine a 3D object such as yourself casting a shadow onto a 2D surface, that's the holographic principle. So you can be projected, quasi-projected from higher dimensional space to lower dimensional. It's a scientific trope that you can actually cross, literally, as far as I understand, but there's probably guys with PhDs that we could probably argue about that.
But you have not seen any documentation that that's what's occurring?
Only a theoretical framework discussion. Yes.
Okay.
Is he basically saying that it's possible, like, if people have said, like, if there's an alien invasion, it's just gonna be like some kind of like hologram or some shit, it's not gonna be real?
Maybe. That refers to one possible fun theory.
So we're gonna get duped again?
I hope so.
And still not going to be able to pay rent.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a given.
Occam's razor.
Oh, great.
Is that
bringing out the big guns now?
Have they been identified that they are being produced by domestic, military and contractors? Is there any evidence that that's what's being recovered?
Not to my knowledge, plus the recoveries predate a lot of our advanced programs that I previously am witting of. So,
would it be safe to say that there could be a scenario today where you have an aircraft that crashes and because it's been involved in one program from one federal agency, and but the agency that retrieves it is not aware of that program, and to them it appears alien in origin?
I mean, that's a hypothetical situation. I'm not aware of any historical situation that would match that you described. So
you're not aware, it has not happened that you're aware of?
That I'm aware of.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
Mr. Grusch, a couple of questions for you too, sir, this morning. What percentage of UAPs do you feel are adequately investigated by the U.S. government, of the 5% that are reported?
I can only speak for my personal leadership over at NGA. I tried to look at every report that came through.
Good luck to you,
sister.
sister.
Triage, so.
Do you believe that officials at the highest levels of our national security apparatus have unlawfully withheld information from Congress and subverted our oversight authority?
There are certain elected leaders that had more information that I'm not sure what they've shared with certain Gang of Eight members or et cetera, but certainly I would not be surprised.
Okay. You've stated that the government is in possession of potentially non-human spacecraft. Based on your experience and extensive conversations with experts, do you believe our government has made contact with intelligent extraterrestrials?
Something I can't discuss in public setting.
Okay, I can't ask when you think this occurred. If you believe we have crashed
what the fuck is wrong with you, woman?
Earlier, do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
No, hold on.
As I've stated publicly already in my News Nation interview, biologics came with some of these recoveries.
This is the most replayed section coming out.
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to that are currently still in the program.
And was this documentary evidence, this video, photos, eyewitness? Like, how would that be determined?
The specific documentation I would have to talk to you in a skiff about.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. So, and you may or may not be able to answer my last question, and maybe we get into a skiff at the next hearing that we have. But who in the government either...
Why start now?
What agency, sub-agency, what contractors, who should be called into the next hearing about UAPs, either in a public setting or even in a private setting? And you probably can't name names, but what agencies or organizations, contractors, et cetera, do we need to call in to get these questions answered, whether it's about funding,
He's not going to give any of that information either.
And what's out there?
I can give you a specific cooperative and hostile witness list of specific individuals that were in those.
And how soon can we get that list?
I'm happy to provide that to you after the hearing.
Super. Thank you. And I yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Owens. Great questions, brother. Mr. Grush, I might have asked this before, but I want to make sure. Do you have any personal knowledge of someone who's possibly been injured working on legacy UAP reverse engineering?
They did say that.
Yes.
Okay. How were they injured? Is it something like a radioactive type situation or something we didn't understand?
I know, but I was going to say again.
Yeah. Havana syndrome type incidences. What was your
Havana syndrome?
I can't get into specifics, but you could imagine assessing an unknown. There's a lot of potentialities you can't fully prepare for.
How do you think we ought to handle
quoting that fucking asshole
like yours in the future?
Yeah, there was some issue with mine. So, PPD-19 process, it goes to the Intel committees, either through PPD-19 or ICD-120. There's not a good way for the Intelligence Community Inspector General to provide that to other committees. And I asked my information to be sent to the House and Senate Armed Services Committee because there are Title 10 equities at play, but there was no smooth process.
Very useful. It's just like a checklist or whatever with a box. I said
Are you aware of any individuals that are participating in reverse engineering programs for non-terrestrial craft? You know any that
are all those fucking papers and shit in front of him just blank pages and shit?
Certainly closed door.
Like what the fuck? Is he's got a notepad and a pen there he's never going to use.
Administratively
a lot of these people had NDAs. I think we can stop right there.
I agree. I think we could have stopped 39 minutes ago. 41 seconds. We would have called it in saying this is going to be fucking like just nothing.
I mean, could you say that he's bluntly admitting that there are extraterrestrials?
Yeah, life forms? But he's also doing it in a way that he just sounds like an idiot.
But I mean, to be fair, Roland, I mean, come on, you can't really say anything because he's in fear for his life, and he's said numerous times that he has to be careful about how he presents the information. So I mean,
yes.
did he didn't call this hearing? They fucking did, So I mean, and he's a whistleblower, so they brought him to this whistleblower congressional hearing.
He could have stayed home, right? No.
Yeah, right. Where they tap his phones and shit.
Where they already probably tap his phone. It's nothing
right,
new.
But I mean,
they probably all do it to each other for fun,
the tap funsies game, what the CIA has, FBI.
Yep, sounds great.
The Men in Black. You think he, like the people that have threatened him and his, or like he's had threats from him and his wife, they're like Men in Black characters that he's not saying? Are the Men in Black making an appearance again? Do you think so? Dan Aykroyd's there with his Crystal Skull vodka, like, I know exactly what you're going to, David Grosh.
You know, that would suck, but I hope so.
I mean, there's no evidence here. He's not saying much and nothing to anyone else's surprise. You know, like I
had a job and I just saw some weird shit.
What? I mean, as us as UFO enthusiasts, we have known about a lot of this stuff. And I mean, even the casual person who doesn't go off reading Zachariah Stitchin or Bob Lazar, or seeing Bob Lazar interviews, or reading Gods of Eden by William Bramley, you know, like all this stuff doesn't surprise us in any way, you know, because he can't really say much. And the only thing he can say or give lists of people who are involved or things that they've actually seen is behind closed doors in like a private hearing. So we're never, like, the public's not going to get, unless there's going to be a whistleblower.
This is
in the whistleblower.
This is cool because it's a thing, but there's nothing actually.
There's nothing concrete that's supposed to like.
Yeah. Nope.
And I don't know if I'm getting this from like a reaction that I've seen like over TikTok or Instagram or whatever the fuck, that people are so like blasé about the whole thing. Like they don't care. Are they gonna come help us? That's usually what they say, right?
Really?
The aliens are here. Who gives a shit? I gotta pay rent. I got bills due and stuff like that. But I mean, looking at this, it doesn't seem that this was supposed to be the big reveal that I guess people were either making it seem that it should have been and wasn't.
Yeah. No.
Because everything I've heard from this guy so far is basically he's kind of just confirming a lot of stuff that we already knew. There's no hard evidence that he's presenting. Nope. He's just making claims that, or I don't know if he's claiming, but he's reiterating some information that he got from credible people, considering that assuming that he is a credible,
who no longer works there.
Yeah, considering that he may
trustworthy.
Be or is maybe a credible player in all of this. I mean, we're assuming we have to believe him, the whistleblower who's claiming that
because it's him or nothing.
Threatened. His life's been threatened, and so has his family or his wife, or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, if by threatened they mean probably he doesn't work there and have a job anymore. Maybe his paycheck was threatened.
These guys come to his house. Stop it! Stop it! Stop what you're saying. Oh God!
Or we take away your health insurance. No!
God, no!
Right.
My wife has hemorrhoids. She needs
She needs health
care. The cream is so expensive, guys. Come on.
You don't understand. And that's why you shouldn't tie that shit to your career, son.
Yeah, universal health care all the way.
This sucked. This fucking sucked. I
mean, I can see why like people are reacting underwhelmingly to it.
I wasn't expecting anything, but I certainly wasn't expecting 40 minutes of just blah, blah, blah.
Well, it's Congress, so I'm always surprised.
But even like a few seconds here and there, no, just fuck off.
I mean, other than the highlights I've seen in clips where like, I mean, people are like, yeah, they're kind of like, well, he who was part of a governmental organization is claiming that non-human things exist or crafts and all that kind of shit, but he's not saying precise because he can't say much.
Like, what do you mean by non-human? Well,
what does non-human mean to you?
So it's like human backwards.
Do you think that maybe like non-human to him means like reptilians?
I would hope so.
You hope it's reptilians? They're like the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
Because
I don't believe in any of whatever the fuck it is that he's there trying to talk about. So I'm just gonna.
Well, I mean,
I gotta have some fun.
What are we supposed to believe? We're supposed to just like.
We're not.
We're not supposed to believe it. Just take a claim, listen to it.
Yeah.
Consider it. Move on with our lives.
Pretty much. Get back to work.
I will say that the most entertaining thing about all of this are the TikToks that have occurred.
Yeah, probably.
That people have made.
I find it very entertaining, but like in an ironic way. So that just sucks.
Well, you know, I always think of some kind of disclosure where the president tells the American people in some kind of like what do you call it when they would give those speeches? Breaking news. A president of the United States of America.
State of the Union.
My fellow Americans. The Dave Chappelle skit. Whenever he brings that guy on, he says they're gonna like head on out, and he's like, "There's an asteroid coming. You're all gonna die." But me bringing up these like 4 white women onto the ship, and they're gonna like head off and party on the aliens' planet. You know. There's a lot of people out there that are saying like, I don't give a shit if there's aliens, take me on the ship. A lot of people are just like, take us with you. This place sucks.
Yep.
And a lot of the consensus in like everyone's creative, I guess, consistency is the fact that where's the money? Are you going to give us money?
Yeah.
Then I don't give a shit what you have to say.
Those were the only like consistently reasonable questions in this whole thing. It was just like,
where's the money at?
Where's the fucking money, assholes?
And of course, he doesn't really know for sure.
Well, it's just not where it's going. Supposed to be going. Yeah. So
I mean, this guy wouldn't have any sort of access as to where the funds are allocated within these like organizations.
No, it's once it's sent out to that to that specific organization.
They kind of just take it and
they probably lose track of all the shit.
They're just like
easily
spend.
Yeah.
But you know what, Roland? We're not going to
like,
give you healthcare. These are measly pennies.
I don't need healthcare.
You know?
I'm fine. The hell? What's wrong with you? Of course I wouldn't need it.
Roland, you don't deserve healthcare.
Also that. I definitely don't deserve healthcare.
You don't deserve healthcare, dude. Not at all. Die.
Alrighty.
Die already.
I'm working on it.
Can I ask you a question? If the aliens were to come down and they offered to take you, would you go?
I've thought about that a lot.
A lot of people have thought about that. I've thought about that.
And I'm just like, maybe. It's as far as I can manage.
Let's say like you could tell your family, like, hey, I'm going to take off.
And you're all coming with me. Yes. And all my friends and only my enemies too, but because they would need to be sacrificed.
They're like, well, that's completely unnecessary. Sacrifices are necessary.
No, it's fine. Get rid of them. They're yours.
We need to adopt the old, like, sacrificial lamb kind of things again, you know?
Exactly.
You go, does it rain on your planet? Do you need me to spill blood for it to rain?
No. Would it if we did?
You go, will it up the inches of rain if I sacrifice this person?
At all? Anything positive from it? No? You sure?
Can I just kill him?
We can just to be safe.
So that's
I probably would. Yeah.
And I mean, from things that we've read and stuff like that, we're under the impression that aliens have been here for a long time already.
Yeah.
They've been on the planet. I mean, there's even the underwater aerial phenomenon.
Yeah.
What are those? The UAPS.
Yes.
The UAPS.
Yeah, the underwater whatever.
The UWPs, underwater phenomenon.
Down there in Atlantis.
Yeah.
Where the aliens are based.
They have King Triton down there doing his thing. But yeah, that was a little underwhelming. I was expecting a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I can guarantee you that we're not going to get shit anytime soon.
No. If we do,
unless the fuckers come down straight and just present themselves on TV. But then again, he's mentioned they could be holographic. So they could be like this whole thing just to kind of stir up the public. Maybe, as Reagan had claimed during one of his speeches, that maybe a one world government, we can put aside all of our differences like he's fucking Bill Pullman in Independence Day. That a threat from above would make us forget all of our differences and we'd come together as one, form one world government, chip all you motherfuckers. Now you all are slaves. Then we really got you.
We've come one with the Borg.
Guess what? The aliens weren't real. Ha! You've been duped.
Kevin Spacey was right.
Kevin Spacey?
Isn't that him? I'm trying to think of that stupid movie, and he does look kind of like an angry, rapey alien, so...
What movie are you talking about?
K-Pax or whatever the fuck?
Oh, K-Pax?
Yeah.
Who the fuck references K-Pax, dude?
Nobody.
Is it good? I've never really seen it.
Oh, haven't you? I thought you had.
I think I've seen that movie, but I don't recall. Like, it was forgettable for me.
Yeah.
Kind of like that Phenomenon movie with John Travolta, where he...
I don't think I ever saw that
but
one.
It, like, he thinks he has like these powers, but it ends up being like a tumor in his head. I mean...
Sorry, I know I probably shouldn't laugh at that, but I am.
It's John Travolta. Come on.
He's like, I've got powers. It's a tumor.
Unless, I think from my understanding of the movie is that he did get these powers and it was a tumor that was causing that.
Right.
But it ended up killing him. Or I don't know if he, I don't remember if he dies or not, but like,
tumor.
It did make him like sick. Like he had a tumor, but the tumor was the one that thing affecting his brain waves or whatever the fuck.
Giving him the powers. The power.
The mind is a powerful thing.
Yeah, especially when it has a tumor in it, apparently.
For sure. Well, I guess you have anything else to add?
No, I kind of don't. This was silly, but whatever. Don't watch it. Just watch this instead.
Watch this instead. I mean, we'll put a link to the video that we got it from because it's not the original. But if you want to watch that, the whole thing on this person's channel, like you should do that. Or you can watch us react to it, or you can watch it without our reaction, which I don't know.
I mean,
whatever you prefer.
Yeah, or just watch us. It's fine.
You'll have the audio available on all streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, all that kind of stuff. So if you want to see us and you want to see us actually reacting to it, you can go to our YouTube channel, which we'll also have linked in any place that it is available. So under the streaming, the YouTube, whatever the fuck. So with that being said, my name is Ray.
This is Roland.
And we'll see you next time on Valley Strange.
Peace.
Blue midgets come into my house. Hey, it's ridiculous. I had some kind of a rectal probe. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Ridiculous.